a one-map wonder, and then we saw last night, and we've seen in the past, their overpass last night was just was awesome, and they killed it. So I mean, their Inferno looks shaky, but they do look very, very strong on certain maps, and then I mean they're going to be able to bail themselves out with just outskilling some of these North American teams and maps that they're not too confident on, or not that we haven't seen them perform super well on, but they look to be a very, very good team here early on in the North American Pro League.
Well, there's no surprises, but I think this is a juggernaut battle, really. I do think both these teams have massive potential to be in the running for a land spot. So we'll see how this plays out. It is Train, keep in mind, so it's a different beast altogether. It's a map that a lot of people don't know as much about yet. And right now, kStars look like they want to head toward inner. Interestingly enough, Peter has already peeked out toward that Ivy Hall. I think he did spot Fallen, so he'll make the call that one is there. That doesn't really give them much to work with.
He's got him down to one. He's gooshed him.
It still doesn't give them much to work with on the read, though. That is a win in terms of HP, but now they're going to split. They actually go back to ladder, so they don't go inner. That decoy from Lex and that smoke will prohibit Steel's entry, and as a result, down the ladder they go. Anger gets one, but he's immediately canceled out by Zeka, and now Nafly gets smoked off on this bomb plant, and this is exactly what we expected to see last night, which we didn't get to see as much, was just that inner smoke on Z connector to allow that bomb to come in quickly. They only used the one, though. There's still a gap on the front from the one alley, and Lex makes good on that, does take down Steel, but Zeka makes another second kill for him in the round as Fur picks up Pith, and now Nafly drops immediately after. It's all left to Lex. Look at the HP, though, 1 and 3, and Lex makes it a third kill in the round. He has to get forward. He's got the time to do it, time working in his favor, but he's going to stick this. He has to be so careful. He's still holding this. He actually has this down to 1 second, and Fur, the jump shot gets it, and if Lex only known that he had 3 HP, that could have been an easy win for him.
Yeah, and it was almost an easy win with just sticking the defuse, but Fur comes out right at the perfect time with the jumping burst fire that connects. But here's what I want to say, because that was actually a very impressive pistol run, because we've seen that strategy executed. We didn't see it as much as we would have liked to, but the difference is kStars made it into a whole package. They had the setup, they faked the inside hit, they got the rotation, they got one guy to pull away from the bomb train, and then they execute that hit outside with those smokes of the bomb train to get the plant. And they set it up perfectly, and they executed it. They stayed far back for the retake, and with sight of that bomb. So well done by kStars.
And kStars, despite losing an early body to the scout of Peter, make up for it by taking down Nafla, Anger, and now Lex as well. Peter, though, still wreaking havoc with this scout. Does get bolts with a nice headshot. Good flick reaction. That's 2 for him in the round now. Steel's going to lurk over in his direction and get up close and personal with that UMP. Makes a case to get one more for them, taking guns away from Stars now down to a 1-on-2. But he hasn't been able to, now he does actually, I take it back, I was about to say he hasn't secured any weaponry. He did get that MAC-10, but that's as far as he'll go. Fallen will take him out, and kStars will remain in the lead, but again, that's a bit of a costly round.
Yeah, but importantly, I didn't notice this on during that buy, I was explaining something, but Peter's got 3K, so I think that scout might have been dropped to him so he could still afford an AWP going into the 4th round, because normally when you see that second round buy, the utilities... Yeah, the utilities are light on everyone, but, you can't even really think about affording it up.
I think Lex had to be the buyer, because he didn't buy anything this round, and he's at 19 behind everyone.
There's the Beagle again.
Out, but it's Anger. And he already finds the shot with it. Fur goes down. Steel, though, back into Peter. And Nafly finds himself on 1 HP. And Zeka trying to come out from the ladder, using the Tech 9. They're going to change it up, though. They want to head toward inner right now, just from losing that initial pick.
It's a good read. It's
so
stacked
careful
at the moment.
It is stacked. Nafly is going to be the one to make the call, but they've gone past him. Oh, Steel just jumped immediately over top of Lex. I don't know how he didn't get that kill. He jumped over his head. You could see him on the screen, but there's no chance his eyes are looking that below. And Fallen with the jumping SMG will take down Nafly. Pitt gets back into 1. So no North Americans left alive in the round, but it's the Brazilians who secure it. And remember, Moses, Brazilians speak Brazilian.
Oh, stop. Don't even, let's not even go there.
I was wrong. It was Portuguese. You're right. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But Americans speak American and Canadians speak Canadian, so in some ways I'm right.
Let's not dwell on our mistakes. Let's dwell on the positives, like this double up setup right off the bat from kStars. Zekuka, as I believe we were told to pronounce it, and it's probably going to be considered wrong by half the people in the chat. But Zekuka and Fallen both have an AWP in hand. very, very aggressively. They're going to be going against Peter. He does pick up that op, like we said, from the scout that was dropped to him. Oh, and look at this boost, but he spots the barrel. Fallen's got to be very careful. I don't think he knows he's been spotted, obviously, but Peter with a good read.
Need out from Bolts. Knowing on the receiving end of that at Ivy, but Fallen's on the receiving end of Peter's off. Equally countered out by what you're calling Zakuka. I'm so confused. I might just go back to ZQK.
Okay. Well, that was very interesting. There were 2 stacks from kStars there. They really, I mean, Peter got that opening pick, but he got forced into that peek, or he just peeks down and gets punished by the second stack. So there's that double op setup really catching Peter off guard.
And they are looking to group up and head toward inner this time. This double op still in play. The problem is that they haven't found entries, and they're going to go for an execution with both of those. So the rather the AKs, excuse me, have to come in with complete force and take over your first kills. That smoke makes it a little bit easier to cross over toward the bomb. That blinds out Pith, but Lex gets close to it. He spots the first one coming through, jumps directly into his face, and LG gets both early kills. It leaves but just the ops. The AK's down, the entry not established. At least they get up close enough to get the first shot off from Fur onto Lex, and ZQK dropping down the ladder finds Pith, switches to the Tech 9, actually manages to get angry, but with 13 HP and only 7 seconds, had to pick up the bomb and try and put it down. Nafly will not allow that. 3-1.
Yeah, and with low HP, that Molotov actually forces him away, forces him to run up on the side, and you know, it's just unfortunate Naf was already there, so he takes him out, but they do good damage there. Peter he is able to afford another, or he doesn't afford it, but they picked one up for him, so he does have another op in his hands, but the rest of them, 3 Foulnesses on the board, 1 kit, very light head armor, and that could be dangerous in rounds where there's Tech 9s and CZs on the board.
Well, we'll see how this plays out because they are wanting to go inner again, but I think Anger, is he climbing up the ladder? No, he's just waiting below it because Fur is scouting that off, so he can't get on the flank quite as quickly as what would have looked and turned into an amazing play. But Fur now falls off it. Anger knows there's shooting going on. We'll see if he eventually does climb up. As EQK on upper's going to smoke this down in toward the site. No, he actually lands it, so it's on the ramp. This will allow them to drop immediately and get close, and Fallen goes back. He actually catches Anger. Brilliant awareness from him. Lex going to take down Fur inside the site, but only after a trade, so Pith is already out of it. That leaves us down to a 3-on-2 advantage for LG. And the AK is still up. They've managed to secure one from us, so they've lost 1 AK, but still have a rifle. But Nafly, from above, takes down Steel. It's all left to Fallen to try and do this 1-on-3, and with this from us, it's a desperate attempt. Nafly, there's the change in the map. He can't go for that headshot peek anymore. He has to jump up. Does so, still makes it successful.
Yeah, crushes it. So a couple inner hits here late in the round, or later on in the round by kStars. They both get shut down. That's going to force them onto an eco, but they got some good trades going into that site. It was just, once again, like we said on Inferno, the rotations from Luminosity have just been so quick. I mean, by the time that those trades actually come into play, there's still 2 Luminosity players to take over the spots of their fallen teammates.
I think you might be a robot. Have you been a robot this whole time? And I didn't know.
I don't think so.
Apparently, you're cheating on me by not being a human. I'm going to come back to you on that one. You think about that for a minute, sir. As the smoke will go out from Peter, Anger's going to take down Steel. CQK also dropping. But Fallen comes back with a double of his own with this P250, so makes a good round out of this as Lex rotates early into that Z connector, and Fur, he's the one to drop down, but look at this lurk from Bolts. Gets beside Peter, and they bring this back to at least in a somewhat close situation for an eco. And with a bomb plant, that's actually quite a good eco round for kStars. Nonetheless, we do see Luminosity pick up and tie this on 3. And Moses, are you human or are you a robot? Apparently he's neither. Apparently he's dead. Somewhere inside him, the heart and the tin have collided, clogged all his arteries.
How do I sound?
And he's back. You sound much more humanly.
Wonderful. That's perfect. Took that opportunity to check my Twitter, and of course I do have a tweet from someone who tells me that that pronunciation was god-awful, so we're just going to stick with ZQK.
I think Zeko was the closest, but ZQK it is. Pith gets a smoke out early. That allows him to re-peek out with a nade without being spotted up by Bolts, but that flasher, pardon me, rather smoke to come deep. That's so deep. Pith has, oh, that's a big misplay from Bolts. Not only did he give away his positioning, but that giant gap in the smoke let Pith easily peek back in return. But meanwhile, the execution on the site is coming in not as quite as swift tonight from kStars as we normally expect to see on their T side. So Fallen does get back to Pith, but there's still a man down. And look at that, HP so low. They're still getting bomb plants. They just can't get these post plants established with enough numbers to make it viable.
Well, you're right. A little bit of misplay over an alley, and it might have been almost something
God
where he
damn
wants
it,
to.
you are a robot. Confirmed. Let's hear what you have to say, because I'm curious on what you thought of that, though.
Am I still a robot?
I mean, we'll make it out just this one time. We'll make an exception.
Maybe that lurk would have been a little bit better if he stayed a little bit longer to help prevent the retake, but Luminosity just jumping through smoke, swarming over that bomb site on that execute that time.
Yeah, you're definitely robotic, man. But yeah, you're right. I mean, Luminosity, I think the other thing play was Bolts tried to come in from Ivy to distract the hold out toward Green Train. And because he left that massive gap, it just was an easy shot for Pith. So the execution, not as quite as coordinated. And well, again, they don't know this map. This is a map Train. It's new to them. It's new to everybody for a lot of ways. And they just don't have that same comfort level that it appears that they have on other maps on their T side. Because that smoke, we don't normally see them leave gaps in their smoke. And that smoke was definitely was thrown a little bit deep. So we'll see if they can make up for it. But they are down and now on the back foot. Against LG, Pith's up on top of the main train inside the inner site. Lex going to support him, but Fallen's already found Anger meanwhile. As Nafly just staring away all the way down the second alley, right to the exit from the ladder room. And it's ZQK again that's outside Ivy who wants to try and lurk in toward it. Again, it's PTR that's waiting this time on the inner side as Pith has changed things back up and headed over toward the B site. And ZQK's got himself tracking behind the servers. Does spot Peter, jumping back across, so an impatient play from Peter gets him caught out of position. This gives kStars a two-man advantage to work with now, and a little bit of distraction. Furs found his way down inside the site to just keep them busy, and ZQK's doing great work inside. First shot on Lex, turns it back around, takes down Nafly as well, and Pith at least finds Fur, that one lurk player. That's their only kill so far in the round, so 1-on-4. Bomb down. This time they've got all the bodies they need and all the post-plant positioning. Pith gets one more into ZQK, so his round, his great round, does come to an end after only a hat trick, but the damage has been dealt. Pith's just going to wait it out on B side. Has this AK, and he's likely going to want to hold on to that until the bitter end. So we'll see if he's able to do that. They aren't really going on the chase. Not surprising because kStars have lost the last 4 rounds in a row, so their economy isn't great either. Triple digits for pretty much everyone. In fact, $0 left for Bolts as he remains alive. So if they chase and it goes wrong for them, it hurts them every bit as much as it helps them. So there's no risk-reward factor, not really in place. Not worth it. They'll sit back. So Pith stays alive. He keeps the AK. We go to 4-4. And as mentioned, Luminosity, their economy also quite grim, so it's important that Pith did keep that gun up. But kStars much better that time. And it came down to actually getting into that Ivy, that long tunnel to catch Peter off guard. A little bit impatient getting back toward the site. Allowed them to get that kill onto him. And then there's one less hold at A, and it gives them a second angle to attack the site from. And it completely overwhelmed Nafly inside. So we'll see if they change things up. Of course, they are going to pistols this round. A little bit of inside presence right now from kStars. Fallen. Actually, 3 players back toward spawn. It looks like it's Fallen, Bolts, and ZQK just waiting for smoke execution. And a passive push at the main connector onto A as Nafly is waiting up close on Blue Train. Fallen's going to watch that angle in case he does want to get aggressive. But Fur and Steel still pushing forward. They've dropped the bomb back down at upper. So they're going to have to go back and commit to that at some point. But watch out again out toward Ivy. It's Bolts. ZQK, they want to take this long approach into the site and keep the defense having to watch front and back, open up the angles of defense. Peter this time looks like he's in a much more patient position. He has to be. He can't make that same mistake twice. Pith goes for this early peek. He's the one again with that rifle. And again, there's a gap in the smoke. So I think actually maybe what they're intending, because they do that twice now. Peter, that's the better play from him. He pops out. Bolt's going to go back in him, but I think what they're intending is to hope that smoke will cover off anyone playing deep in the backside, out in the outback, as Moses likes to call it. And Peter, that was a perfect peek that time. Steele's going to make up for it, though. He takes down Anger at the bottom of the ladder, and it's into a 4-on-3 situation as LG do still have that rifle on Pith, and the bomb's not yet down for kStars. Pith, though, is going to be Molotov'd outside of the site. He has to stay put and wait, but he still has vision, and if Bolts gets too aggressive, no, that train's just barely too strong. He won't be too tall, rather. He won't be spotted up just yet, but now he can get the peek. He knows the barrel of the gun. There he does get the shot on Bolts. That's 1 down for Pith. Back to a 3-on-3, but this bomb's been ticking for quite some time, and Steele's going to watch Nafly coming around from outback. Already spotted up. Can't get the cross in. And Fallen still alive in this position. Gets back into Gooch. He's going to wait. Takes down Lect. It all comes into 1 man remaining in the site. As Pith is all the way back towards CT as he only has 22 HP, doesn't want to give up this AK. He's going to go for this double save, and kStars are going to bring this back to their advantage. 5-4. And a lot more swift. Again, it was pistols that time, so not surprising they get this round, but at least it was interesting. LG still finding those kills, and Peter, a much better disciplined play to hold off Ivy. I think they're going to have to be a lot more aware of the fact that kStars continue to use that. So money's good both sides. Now we'll get guns all the way back out, and there is an op in play on the CT side. No surprise, that goes to Peter. They'll have one to work with as well on terrorists. It's going to be ZQK. He's in position a little bit earlier. Anger needs to be careful not to peek too soon. He actually does, and somehow gets away with that. I'm not sure how ZQK missed that shot, because Anger gets the better of it back with an M4. So not only hit him once, hit him twice. Gets the first kill. Now Steel inside takes a bit of damage as well from that nade that came through the top. So they're actually using that window above the inner hallways to their advantage on the CT side as well. That takes Steel down to 55. So double advantage right now for LG. Lex waiting on the backside of main train. As Bolt still wants to have a presence out here at long regardless. Does put out that Molotov. That's just going to check the inside of the filing cabinet to make sure no one's pushed up and in the corner. And it'll flush that back out. He'll wait for the exit, but no one is there. They're actually playing a lot more passively. Peter's inside the site this time with his op, so a little bit more of an aggressive stance to hold off ladder in the main connector, but Nafly's compensating for that by playing in the outback. And there's that smoke. This time it's a lot more shallow. There will be no gap this time, but likewise there will be no entry on the site. It's all just a distraction as Fallen's the one with the bomb. He's going to want to head in through main connector, and kStars are going to send Steel and Fur down the ladder to try and distract. Peter falls back into Z. He won't be in the open when they come through. He'll be able to call the peak on his own, and that's exactly what he does. First shot on Steel, he gets a second on Fur, controlling the angle masterfully. Has Fallen in a very tough situation, does get pursued by Anger, but not before taking down Nafly, so at least kStars get one in this round to work with, but Bolt will go no further. He shall not pass Lex, and back to fives immediately. Good response from Luminosity.
Alright, how do I sound?
You sound amazing.
Perfect.
Have I ever told you that?
No, that's the first time. I liked it, though.
It's fine, it'll be the last time. Welcome back.
You said it perfectly, controlling the angle from Peter on that bomb train. A couple nice shots, and we've seen in the past sometimes in those situations he's been very rushed with his shots, and he seems like he's been a little bit more patient here so far in this map. Those are a pair of nice shots as they come exiting out of that ladder room from him.
And again, kStars love to use this long connector, this Ivy push, or as we're going to call it from now on, Pigeon. That flash does come out. That'll slow them a little bit, but Anger's not going to push through. And this time, the LG's success in holding that position has actually come from being on the outback side of it. This time, they're actually forward of it. Pith got the one round where he saw through the smoke, but we haven't seen that smoke. Okay, now we see it again, and they are throwing it to the left intentionally, so they are covering off outback, but again, it still leaves this gap, so Peter's on the inside of it. This may actually still play back into LG's favor.
Yeah, LG actually has a very solid setup going on at the moment. Peter's got to be careful because he actually still has it smoked, so he's safe. But all three of the defenders on that A-bomb side basically in a line. Naf's in that CT heaven spot, and now they're finally going to push up. Peter's going to get aggressive with this op. He's in a very forward position with it at an angle that they might not be ready to expect. But importantly, no one's really transitioned over to cover Ivy or Pigeon. Anger just finally getting there now. He's going to meet a couple. Bolts is going to be the first one out. He does spot it out. Peter turns around. He's got a long-range battle that he wants. He picks the first one off. But he has too much to look at. Too many different angles and some good trades from kStars. Gets him into a 2-on-3. Fur jumping over onto the trains, does some damage, but it's all up to him now in a 1-on-3.
Nice pokeball from Fur, does catch Naf. Brings it back to at least a situation he can pull this. Yeah, but 7 seconds, he has to go for this plant. He's on the backside of the train, so he may buy himself some space, but he tries to take the duel with Lex. Or rather with Pith, and Lex comes around from behind, and this is back and forth at this point, but again, kStars really need to rack up rounds T-sides, at least based on tradition, but it's a new map for both teams. There's going to be lots of mistakes to be capitalized on regardless.
Yeah, and we saw this, you know, the first time we saw this against just two North American teams, it was just so much more fast-paced, and that just comes down to teams not being really familiar with it, not wanting to mess with slow executes, just kind of wanting to get out and see if they can win the gun battles. And look at this, quickly down the ladder. They're going to do this, execute very, very fast. There's 2 members on the train. Naf and Peter combined for 2 quick kills.
And 2 quick kills to give them the lead. Make it a final 2 from Peter to close the round. And Luminosity take their largest lead they've had yet, 2 rounds in the favor.
Peter's op has really really turned on here in the last few rounds that I've seen.
I agree.
He's been playing very, very well, and it's tough to get a read on how good 5 rounds is. We've seen this map very CT-sided, and on the other hand, Titan and Hellraisers each, I mean, Hellraisers had an 8-7 half, I believe, but they got 8 rounds on their T side, or so maybe it was 9, but it's kind of tough to read still, so... One thing I noticed more on this map than necessarily the older train is it just allows you to, the way this is set up, I mean, Naf's pushing up close to ladder here, but you look at this defense from Luminosity, they've been playing 2 players pretty much dedicated inside. On the older trains, you kind of had to cheat 1 player outside in certain situations.
And they're holding this off angle again more passively as Peter is staring down Ivy. This time, Lex again inside, throws that nade out through the window. Just trying to catch anyone that's lurking up inside. It actually does do a small amount of damage to steal. Or rather, it does not. I thought it would have. Yeah, it did. Okay, 2 damage. So it did actually hit him inside that radius. I thought he was close enough to it, but insignificant no less. Although we have seen a couple times in these rounds that people have survived with 1 HP, so it can't make a difference. For using that ledge, that's actually really cool. I haven't seen someone use that ledge to just be passive like that and not get spotted, not let their feet get spotted on the way down. So he was just waiting to see if anyone was going to get aggressive on inner. As Anger now has to fall back and watch. They double smoke it this time to get their way outside of this Ivy push, but Bolts has to fall back through it, and in comes Peter, in comes Anger. They push directly through the smoke, and there's no response. kStars just get caught in a grinder.
That's exactly what they wanted, too. They got the rotates off from those 2 players faking the inside bomb site. Now it's just those 2 left. Anger coming through that smoke sprays down 2. That should not happen. There was even 1 player waiting for it. He just wins the duels. So that's going to be an 8th round for Luminosity. No time, and really these guys have to save this gun, but there is a little bit of a hunt going on. There's some decent money on Luminosity's side. But even Fur not going for an easy kill. Steel does take 1 down, and Fur actually does find Lex as well, so it's about as good as that round could have ended for him, but still, it's turning into a tough half. That's 4 straight now for Luminosity.
It's a super tough half. Again, we talked about kStars T-side, but I don't want to overread a little bit too much. This is still a possibility. We haven't seen Luminosity yet on train, have we? This is their first train match as well?
As far as I know.
Yeah, as far as I know, I think that's the case. So chances are they're going to have similar issues. But I will say that Lex, in particular, seems to be using a lot of the nade exploits to his advantage. Further on entry does find Anger this time. Naflight going to get 1 in response, and there's Peter again. This guy is unrelenting tonight. On to 14 kills in 14 rounds with this op, and it's a pretty cluttered site. He's doing it with aggressive peaks, and there's another one to his name. He takes Fallen, who tries to get in position to put the bomb, or at least secure the bomb to a secure Steel pushing up and get that down, but Bolts now drops to Lex. Steel brings it back, but only to a 3-on-1 temporarily, momentarily, secondary, as Luminosity close it, and they're just running away now. 7-5 now to 9-5. It's looking good.
There was a small gap in the defense that Fur was able to get an entry kill. He pushes up down the lane that's been newly blocked off for an upper far back, so he finds a gap in the sandwich between the 2 trains to get that entry kill, and it really wasn't covered that well by Luminosity early on, so that's something they should look forward to exploiting again. But this late in the half, it seems like they want to just turn this into a fast-paced B-hit, all 5 of them.
Yeah, this is super fast. This puts pressure on Lex. He hasn't actually seen a lot of action at B, despite that he's been playing it quite well. There's that nade that he throws out. This time it catches damage onto 2, Fallen and Bolts, and the fire's going to divide them, so 2 players get into sight, but they've got to do a lot of work their own, because no one's going to come in to support them. They have to wait for that to extinguish. Finally it does. Bolts will push forward. Smoke to prohibit his push in past White Train, and Lex doing a massive job. He hasn't been tested too many times on B site, but he definitely owns up to it when the time does come. Studies well and passes the exam with flying colors, though, but Fallen doing equally as good, and you're dead right. ZQK's on this flank coming through Z. Excellent lurk play from him. PTR, rather, has no idea he's coming, but he hasn't secured the kill. Finally, he does. This brings it back to one player remaining right now, Nafly, who brings it down to a one-on-one as he catches Fallen, and he's got the HP advantage. He'll take the kill, defuse kit in hand, and this is going to go 10-5. Great half, good comeback in the half in particular from Luminosity. And keep in mind, kStars actually got a pistol, so they're known for getting gun rounds. They only got 2 gun rounds on their T side that time.
Yeah, that was just lockdown. I mean, they went up, what, like 5-4, I believe it was at one time. They won the last 6 straight, so nicely done by Luminosity. And it was just great defense on that intercept, on that hit. At that point where Lex got aggressive on Bomb Train, he was playing behind the first train. He transitions over, and Lex actually, or Anger on the rotate actually comes in and covers his position. One kStars member tries to push through the smoke to circle around Lex, but that angle was covered perfectly by the teammate, so... It's very, very nice nice transition from Anger from being just this badass rifler entry fragger for his team into the support role.
And Nafly's had 2 good games tonight as well, so a lot of good additions to LG. It's a whole new core, essentially, to the roster.
Yeah, and a very promising core. We've seen them do great stuff so far in the early portions of this season.
Yeah, because Anger was actually the only original remaining member, essentially, is Lex, because Anger was a late addition. He came in and played the whole last season, but he was a late addition before the start of last season after he got released from Liquid, in favor of, oddly enough, Fugly, who Nafly essentially had to give up his spot to keep Fugly when they brought in Elige, so it goes kind of full circle in a weird way.
Very incestuous relationship in all of our North American teams.
That's painting a broad picture for everyone on the outside perspective of North America. Are you sure you want to label us like that, Jason?
Yes.
Let me just declare that everything is different in America than Canada. He speaks for himself. There is no incest, although it is the game the whole family can play.
God.
You started it, sir.
Let's talk train.
Let's talk pistol rounds. Even better, let's go deeper into the meta. Let's dive right into action. How about that? We'll let the meta speak for itself.
Yeah, we haven't really seen the meta develop. We haven't had enough time with this map, so it's definitely cool seeing these early matches on it.
Well, kStars need to pick up 2 pistols just to make a case out of this match. Usually you pick up 2, you're in a good spot to win it, but now the pressure's on just to pull them back in.
A lot of utility. 3 smokes here for Luminosity, and they're lining up to throw these smokes. They have a set strategy you want to execute with them, obviously. But to have 3 smokes, that means you have a plan of action. And it looks like they almost want to line up those train smokes, those bomb train smokes, to get the plant down. Pretty similar to what kStars actually did on their pistol round.
Smoke out to cover off bolts back toward the second alley, but Fur spotting out early does take down Peter. They have one Molotov for ZQK. He might need to throw it right now, though, because they're already coming in, or he tries to throw it, but he realizes that Lex coming in behind him. Good awareness not to get caught with the nade out. In fact, he did get it off just before that, so my mistake. He did get that before I switched over, so that lands on top of the bomb. That means they couldn't get Anger in position to plant it, and that allows ZQK to pick them up as they wait for the flames to diminish, and that gives kStars, there you go, second pistol. So 2 pistol rounds for kStars, and that only gives them a chance to make a comeback.
Yeah, and they didn't bite that fake whatsoever. That was a fake thrown by Luminosity with those smokes to line the bombs. So there were a couple cracks, and a couple players from kStars were actually pushed up. One was in, the old terrorist hell position, and he was getting great intel on how many Luminosity members were streaming out of the main connector, the terrorist choke point. So nobody bites on that fake, and that Molotov prevents the plant. Nice job by kStars in the pistol round.
And they're going to try and use this Ivy push to their advantage on the LG side this time, but they've only got the 2 pistols to do. And Bolts, though, going to shut it down immediately. Nafly wants to re-peek it. He's already pretty much committed as he's in the hallway. Does do decent damage, so takes Bolts down to 18. He won't readdress, but meanwhile, it's all coming into B. That's where Peter's going to get dropped with the bomb, and Bolts will close it out eventually. Does do it with the FAMAS. And kStars continue on.
Yeah, this is, I mean, that's kind of scary for me. I know it's only 2 rounds in, so, I mean, once again, in the interest of not reading too much into it, but that's 2 rounds now that Luminosity has just thrown a fake outside and tried to go in her. No, it's just an eco, so no big deal, but that's something that kStars especially hasn't looked like they're falling for whatsoever, and it's got to be a little bit more of a convincing fake when you think about that pistol round. They didn't really sell it whatsoever.
It's a really early attempt to throw the flash. That would have stopped a rush, but No counter peek from the high side. There wasn't much point to throw that flash, interestingly enough. But Fallen, no less, will make good of the inside play with these SMGs. Fur's going to do the same. Fallen doubles up. Steel Bolts contributing with their own. That's good money gained. Lots of money gained. Now they'll go for this upgrade, and they've got plenty of cash to do it.
And another double op setup to open things up. They had a double op set up on the fourth round of the first half on the terrace side. They open up with 2 sniper rifles, and they do it again here. So trying to establish that range scope dominance early on.
All right, well, Peter's going to have his op out aggressively this time on the T side. Bombs dropped all the way back towards spawn in a safe position. But hang on and watch out, because LG are going to get smoked off on Ivy. They won't have the entrance they want. Fur's going to play in the backside of Green Chain, formerly where Hell was. There is no more heaven. Just a control room where someone can play God, but not really be in an angelic figure. As bolts flashed off. And we're seeing the same smoke actually right now from LG that we saw from kStars. So that actually is intentional to cover Outback as opposed to the inner connector and try and rush in and take that peek. The problem is that it leaves such a gap. It leaves such a massive gap for a counter peek. It's interesting to see both teams use that.
Luminosity very, very spread out at the moment. They're giving Peter a lot of time to try and find... He's not even looking for a pick. He's just trying to punish someone who gets the peek, but Fallen finds it onto Lex. Lex gives up the first. And now that's going to transition the bomb over into the inner bomb site. It's the only real area where they have any kind of map control. Steel's ready to go with the Molotov. As soon as these smokes and flashes come out, he's just going to drop it on the ramp, and then it's going to be all up to that op from ZQK to get some picks.
Well, they're pushing up ladder now in behind. This gives Fur a chance to try and trap LG, but they've already found their way inside the site, so Steel only gets one on the counter entry before Naf will take him back down, but here's Fur on that flank. Manages only one. Naf, like, great reactions to turn around and rip his head off with that AK. And Peter, what a shot on ZQK. Brings it back to 2-on-2 in this post play, but Bolts is lurking. Nafly can't react the same way twice. And now Peter's got to be so careful with this op because Bolts is staring him down and he spots him before he can get the shot off. They'll get the defuse, and kStars now going to bring this to 9. Much better, well, again, early, but much better looking on their CT side so far than what they did on their T.
Yeah, and that was a dangerous round for them. Luminosity got some very efficient trades coming into that inner bomb site. They set up nicely. Peter hits a nice shot on the upper ramp, eliminates one of the other oppers, but they do buy it up again. Or actually, they probably picked it up from Peter's dead body, but kStars with a good retake there. And that's the key. I mean, one of the ways you get punished on this map as CT is giving something up, and you saw Peter at Alley the entire time with an op waiting for any peek, and they didn't give anything to him, so... I mean, that's nice work, and this is going to be... It's not a force... I mean, it's almost a force buy. It's armor and Tech 9s. They still have a lot of money behind it, so it's not really depleting the bank, especially with the money bonus that'll come into play, but... They want to do some damage here, and they want to get... I mean, they want to try and punish this double op setup by ruining the economy of kStars. You know, get those sniper rifles out of their hands. And this is a good chance to do it, because Steel's the only one currently at the inner bomb site. ZQK is playing very far back.
And that smoke's going to limit his shot as well, because that's going to land at the backside of the white train. They can go for this Tech 9 train, this rush play, but Steel's above, so he sees over that first smoke, and he manages to pick up 2 before there's any response. There's still no response. Finally, Peter will get him. Flash going deep. And Fallen with the second op is going to get a little bit more aggressive than ZQK. Try and take the fight to LG. Does find Anger lurking in behind the oil tanker. Look at Pith. He wants to push forward through his own smoke and does so successfully for 1, but only 1. Peter now finds Fur, but Bolt's still up, down to a 2-on-1. Only Peter left, and he only has this pistol, but he pushes forward. They may not discover he gets through the smoke. This is Spider-Man style play as he lurks and jukes his way out of jive right there, but Peter eventually does fall down. No surprise, but a good eco round. Bomb plant down, and like you said, hurt the economy. They do secure both ops, but that's 3 rifles dropped.
Yeah, the only thing that's really bailing them out here in terms of kStars is that they're able to recover both ops at the end of these rounds. They're able to pick up that second one, because if they kept having to rebuy these 2 rounds in a row, their economy would look much, much worse. So Luminosity actually doing a pretty solid job of putting the damage in that should keep them low, but just like I said, picking up those ops, it's keeping the money high.
Peter. This is passive if you've ever seen it, just waiting at spawn in case they do push out Ivy, while his teammates establish a presence elsewhere on the map with Nafly, Pith, and Anger waiting above ladder. It looks like they actually want to head up toward the inner bomb site. Lex is quick on his heels to join in on that raiding party.
Oh, Fur's gonna get something
Fur.
up here.
Yeah, there you go. Peter just waiting. That's why he's passive. Fur pushes too far forward, rather. And ZQK responding with one. And Peter, nice jump around the corner. That was really impressive, actually. Never mind a nerf movement speed. If you go like JW and just jump and scope, he makes it work. I'm surprised that worked because he actually had about a full second before he got that shot off. Nafly now going to find Steel, and this is excellent from LG. This is awesome from LG. They find bolts. And losing only Pit so far, it leaves ZQK in a rather awkward situation of deciding if he wants to hold this up. He's got to be careful. Okay, he did hear that, so he at least turns back. But they've got a player in Peter coming up behind him, too.
The timing of this is just perfect so far, because Peter just comes up the stairs, so ZQK's got a lot of time left to try and survive, but he's in a spot where they just already feel like they checked, so he might be good for it. And yeah, Luminosity that round, I mean, oh my lord.
Oh my Lanta.
How is this happening?
I know, how did they not?
Oh no, he misses it!
After all that, after allowing everyone to walk around him, going completely senpai on them, he gives it up. And he whiffs on Peter.
I mean, Luminosity there just got really fortunate. kStars tries that aggressive strategy in mid. They push the Colt. Peter's waiting for it, punishes the first one, and then a second player. They do get an equalizer, but the second player comes in with an op, and he's very close range. And like you said, it was a nice shot from Peter, but punishing that aggression just opened up that bomb site so easily. And now, look at this buys out of kStars. This is all that economic damage that Luminosity did in these past couple of rounds. I mean, with all the ecos that they had in the bomb plants, now they have a superior money system going for them, and it's 3 pistols and 1 shotgun.
Peter takes down Fallen with his op. Look at how long for it took to line up that shot. Peter had no idea it was there. He took about 2 full seconds just to make sure he secured that kill, and he gets the second one now into Lex. This gives him a gun to work with as Steel's pushed forward to pick up Peter's op, so they're making a case out of this. Anger does get back to ZQK. Steel, there's the op. Thank you very much, Peter, for the long-range weapon. They'll take down Anger on entry. Bomb at least gets placed by Pit. Waits to play the passive angle, but watch beside him because Fur is in a position to lurk up. They need to be so careful. Nafly needs to get down and support this Deagle around the corner. Pit's going to find bolts. He doesn't able to land that shot, but Fur then realizes exactly where he's playing, turns his attentions in that direction, and Nafly now remains as the only one left because Peter lost the duel up top. Or rather, Pit lost that duel up top. There it is, though, from Nafly, and he's got position. Yeah, they know this. No kit for Fur, and no position advantage. He's going to give it up. Nafly checks it either way. This is all going to be the end of the round. Terrorists win. Okay, so interesting to note, from that corner, you take 56 damage Nafly took. But if you were on the other side of the stairs last night, I think we saw a player die in the 40s, so it's probably a similar radius to the backside of those halls.
Very interesting. That was actually a pretty good round out of kStars. I thought they might pull it out. That CZ close ladder, Lex comes swinging out, and the smoke hits him in the kneecap, so he just dead stops, and he gets easily cleaned up. The real issue was there were 3 members of kStars outside, and there was 1 shotgun playing behind a smoke up top, and he got aggressive when he'd have the teammates with him, but here comes a fast hit from Luminosity. Ops going to work, a lot of missed shots. ZQK and Fallen chime in for 2. There's Peter responding with his own, but the bomb site is locked down at the moment. Peter's got a lot of work to do. He's going to get flashed out. That gives Fur the opportunity to take the shot. Down to a 3-on-1. Lex not able to spray. The gun runs out of bullets, and now he's just going to get flanked out from the side by Steel. A nice defense mounted there by kStars, and they actually picked up a 3rd op. I don't know if that's a mistake or if they actually are interested in going for that.
What did they sacrifice for it? It was a rifle, was it not?
Yep.
So this, yeah, no, they're going to use it. They give it over to Fallen. Oh, no, they're not. Okay, ZQK gave his up. No, he didn't. He buys out, so they are going to use this triple up.
Yep. Well, I mean, you got it. No reason to waste the money.
I mean, if you threw away the rifle, at that point, you pretty much commit to it right then and there. So this is potent. So ZQK holds the main connector. Bolts inside has the rifle back toward Outback. Fallen, he has one of the ops. He's also looking at main connector. That's interesting. The 2 are focusing on the same position, but now ZQK falls back to cover inner. Fur will be able to control the peak. He actually gets up. Is he in control room? I think he is. Yes, he is, with this nice place, and we haven't seen anyone use this too much, and look how good it is. It's over top of that smoke. That's a good counter play if you can get there. You are quite exposed, and you are trapped in, so Pith does get the kill in the end. But that's a good start to the round, and it leaves only Nafly remaining. He does manage to take down Fallen. He's going to do damage to him, and on the back side of the train awaits a lovely ZQK, Zeka, Zakuka, whatever the hell you called him. Now it's 12-12. And
Yeah,
kStars have done the job to make this interesting.
the real beauty of that round from Fur up in that control room is he does so much damage to the execution while their smokes are up, so they have to slow down. He obviously has a great advantage of him, so that strategy just kind of slows down. It gives time for those smokes to fade, and then they don't have anything to re-smoke for those oppers that are at the distance. And they're just able to clean up and pick them off before they can get into the bomb site. So nicely done by Fur in that round. Luminosity on another eco round here.
Double smoke setup, though, for Luminosity. So Lex and Peter are going to smoke out quickly onto A. These smokes will land one. It should land one front. Perfect. Good bounce. That covers off the connection between Red Train and Bomb. Second one lands backside. That covers off Z. This allows them to go for a quick bomb plant. They just need to make sure they don't get picked off from the one hallway, which Peter's lurking up. There's a nice shot from ZQK. They use that control room again, but they do get the bomb plant down. That's entirely what was intended out of this strategy. So even though Anger's left alone in a 1-on-3, make it 1-on-2, they've already got the success from this eco round. Now he's got a rifle. He actually might be able to play this post plant. No, Bolt is already on it. It's planted just too tight, so they'll hold this, and Fur's going to take down Anger.
Peter made quite the play and all that havoc. He runs through smokes. He runs down the alley, jumps behind one of the opper, knifes him, picks up his op, and kills another one with it. So he got a good amount of money there. He's got 6,500 now, so he's going to pick up an op of his own. He's got 25 kills, 25 and 19. He's been going all for his squad recently in these past few days.
Peter, pumpkin eater. I forget the rest of that tongue twister. Or nursery rhyme, whatever that is. You know what this is? It's Counter-Strike. And Bolts is going to get up on top of green. No one's coming main connector this time, but Anger's actually already dropped down the ladder into the ladder room. Smoke's going to go out, won't let him out anytime soon. But it does mean that if someone wants to lurk, which we see a lot of counter-terrorist players do, just to lurk in below ladder, just to secure that position, they're going to find out that Anger's already waiting there. So it actually, even though it's not a major advantage to open up anything, it actually denies position from the CTs.
Yeah, and a good defensive setup once again. Fur on this bomb train has been a beast with his Colt on defense, and the smokes come out, the execution, they haven't spotted anyone though. There's 3 members inside the ladder room for Luminosity. No one has left the choke points. Finally delayed they do once all the counter flashes come out. Fur takes out one, Bolts chimes in with the second. There's Peter getting a nice entry kill, but Fur still on this train, peered over the smoke. Naf with a nice reaction, so it's down to a 3-on-3, but quickly down to a 2-on-2, so great trades, but the damage on Luminosity has been massive. One player, Anger, with 1 HP. Naf's got 16.
Oh, Fallen gets lagged. Naf hits him. Anger, 1 HP, he's done. And Naf Light still has the op to try and make something potentially work in his favor, but watch out for Fallen, who's coming in from Z. Whips that shot, now gives Naf Light so the read that he's there. He actually gets him from the grave. There you go. Consolation prize, but Steel gets him as he had to fall off just due to the fact that Fallen was coming in directly in front of him. And kStars have pulled this back, so it's a complete opposite performance tonight. Now it's all their CT, and we did kind of make mention of that. We talked about how teams don't really yet know this map, and it seems like Luminosity are the ones struggling to execute now.
Yeah, well, also this double op setup out of kStars is just absolutely brutal at the moment. Such long range, and no matter what you smoke off, there's always going to be a gap for an opera on the CT side to find. It almost looks at the moment like they're talking some things over. Naf hasn't even left spawn yet, but they're playing it very far back. It is going to be an eco round. Deagles are bought, 4 Deagles in fact.
The fact that you don't pause and stay that long in spawn usually indicates frustration too when you're talking. Usually, like I've seen players do it at LAN where their hands just come off the keyboard and they start cracking their knuckles and they brush their hair and they just look flustered usually when they don't pause like that. It's almost like a breather, an individual breather, while someone else on the team's going, "Come on, guys, let's go, let's go." So, and I imagine that's
breather is
Peter.
Bolts, as he just gets his head taken off. ZQK is very close up on the ramp, and he's going to find some aggression. Lex peeks out. He's very fortunate to get away. Goes for a second peek. But now he just falls back. He mauls himself away. There has been an equalizer, and they actually come out the ladder room for an execute onto this outside bomb site. Fur not able to connect anything, so there is a route to the bomb site for Luminosity.
And Pith finds his way in there with that Deagle, takes down Fur, so bomb does get placed. The path they opened might have been the path less taken by Robert Frost, but it still works. And Steel, good entry, good reaction. Fallen's still the one that gets the kill, but he was aiming in the right spot to take down Lex. So we find Pith all by his lonesome, and he finds another one with this Deagle. Man, LG and these Deagles, this is so fun to watch. And they're going to pursue this kill because they have to make sure he gets at least one. And now he's actually brought this back, but he can't hit the shot. Oh, he's out of ammo. Oh, my God, that was so close. He ran out of ammo in the Deagle. He got so lucky that off was that close to him, because if he threw that away, oh, my God, LG.
And just when everything looked grim for Luminosity, Pith comes up with that play. But not only that, look at the money at kStars. They're going to be on an eco. They might even have to do a double eco, but with the emphasis they put on the double op setup, they'd have to do a double eco. But if they don't want to let Luminosity get to 15 rounds, they're going to have to buy without AWPs in the next round. That was a huge round to win there for Luminosity. Pit comes up huge.
Man, talk about not cracking under pressure. So many players will be like, oh God, what do I do? And hesitate. And I always have a saying as a car racing enthusiast, he who hesitates loses. And if he hesitates there for even a second and doesn't pick up that rifle, he won't hit that shot. Like, that was split second. So good read for him to just run for that op.
You're killing me.
It's a true statement, man. If you hesitate, even on like correcting a car, you're screwed. That doesn't have to do with a one-on-one battle. That thing can apply to so many terms. It's like my words to live by. I actually think that's my motto.
Naf, he does check it. I thought he was going to run right by it, but he cleans out Steel from that position, and now Anger's going to get aggressive in ladder. Good headshot on the ZQK. One more behind E-Box. Anger finds him as well, and Lex finds one, so this is just getting absolutely cleaned up.
So Anger gets around the bomb train. Pip cleans it. 14,
but look at the
14.
money. Look at the money. Like, what do you do here? This is such a huge decision for kStars.
And they're going to force it.
Yep.
Yeah, they're going to force this on 14s. They don't even play for overtime. They want to take the lead, because if they win this force, even if they don't win the next one, we at least get to overtime. Keep in mind, this is a different situation, and I won't call them out for it. It's not Inferno. But this is the second map that Luminosity had a massive lead. Not quite as big as 13-2, mind you, but had a decent lead at halftime that they haven't been able to close out. So winning that last round is big to keep their chances alive. And it's a Scout, 3 FAMASas, and an M4 for Bolts.
And only one kit whatsoever, so
that's actually more significant. Yeah, that's way more significant. Because we've seen these rounds be extremely close and get down to one-on-ones in multiple occasions.
Very passive setup from Luminosity. I don't know if they're trying to figure out, maybe if they've got to know it's a buy with all these smokes that have come out. But they're not willing to really commit themselves to anything quite yet. Not even taking control of the old box halls right outside the B bomb site.
Really slow play. LG knows that every bit as much as kStars realizes with this force buy. LG knows that this round is so important. So much riding on it. It's more of a get yourself out of dodge round. Just secure that 15th, play for overtime if you have to, but lose it and the pressure is insurmountable. As Anger comes back up the ladder, they'll join, and this looks like it's finally going to be toward Inner. That bomb's still on the ground, so Peter has to go all the way around and grab it. He's going to be late to get there, but the entry does at least go one in favor of Nafly, making amazingly a nice shot on ZQK. Bolts catches Lex, and Peter, he's going to get hurt by Fallen, who's getting on his heels already. Almost gets that shot. He has to drop back. If Fallen came around the corner that much quicker, bomb would have been down, and this could have turned back to kStars. Instead, they're still going to get the plant despite having the man down. But crucially, Fallen has the high ground, so they can't go to that infamous position to play for post-plant, and as a result, Fur and Bolts just come in and overwhelm them, and kStars, they'll be the first to do it. They're going to get the first and only match point in this match.
Yeah, they're gonna pick it up AWP too, and that flank was absolutely huge. You can see, forces Peter into the bomb site to plant, and there's two members in the site. There's nowhere to go for post-plant positioning from there. They had one on the high ground, like you said, one pushing on the ground, and one coming in for a flank, and there was nothing that those Luminosity players could do, so...
The other questionable aspect of that is that Anger came back up the ladder to join on the entry. You're already committing 3 to inside. You've made that call. Peter's going to be late to come, but he doesn't pick up the bomb. He leaves it there for Peter. And there was about a 4-second window where they could have had the bomb down already inside the site if Anger grabbed it.
Well, also, you don't need to come in to help with the entries because Naf already got both of them. Naf had a couple stunning shots.
Yeah, so that could have made a huge difference in the round, because just not getting it down in time, giving up that many players, and having no post-plant situation to work with. So smoke out on Inner, that'll cover off lower side, gives Steel a bit more breathing space as he is playing solo inside that B site again. ZQK gets smoked in front of the bomb train. He'll fall, actually, I thought he was going to go up to control room to see over top of it, but instead he falls forward of it. He moves closer over to that alleyway where Peter finds Bolt. So LG finding first blood. This is crucial. This is tense because now they have to utilize all of the map control they gained. The problem is there's such open bomb sites, there's not much to be gained, and Peter finds that out the hard way as Fallen lurks back up past the E-box. Headshot drops him. Pith still lurks. They are wanting to slowly commit. Lex is going to take this bomb. He's inside the A site. Where's the rest of his team? He's on the front of the train, but no one else is there to support. Lex switching over to the op, finally gets someone in position in the form of Anger, and he makes the shot with the op. Now they can try and pinch, and unfortunately for Fur, actually, I was about to say, unfortunately, he was going to get pinched. Unfortunately, they haven't spotted him, so this could actually turn back in his favor as ZQK now does get up above the smoke. Shot from Fur. It is advantage on Lex, and Nafly turns it back. Somehow they get Pith to contribute on a steal, so Fur, Nafly, one-on-one, overtime, or the victory for kStars right here, right now, and Pith does have the bomb, and very wisely, he's sending to the inner bomb site with 8 seconds. I don't know if he's going to get there in time. Has to go for the jump. I don't know if he did. I don't know if he did.
He got it.
So close. Okay. Oh, that was as close as you like. I thought he landed on 3, but he had the plant animation rolling before he landed, so, man, that's so tight.
Yep, Kurt Fur does find a kid. He's been patient that whole round. He waited and he waited, and he got a couple nice kills for his team, a double kill. But this is massive. He's going to turn around this train. Pith, he looks the wrong way. Pith is able to get it. So it's going to be another overtime for Luminosity here. They've had two long matches here so far.
Yeah, Brazil might be able to take advantage of the Americans, but the Swedes aren't ready to go down without a swing just yet. So Pith, with literally half a second on the clock, manages to force this overtime by winning out that clutch. And for the second time tonight, Luminosity Gaming are going the distance because don't forget they had that double overtime game on Inferno just about an hour and a half ago at this point. So,
yep.
A long night of Counter-Strike for them. I think they also had a CEVO matchup tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm not